Hey guys, welcome to my live stream again, or to the recording of the live stream if you're watching it later. And today I'm live, and I'm shooting this video whenever you're watching on the 23rd of December, which is one day for those of you who celebrate Christmas. It's one day before the big day before the Christmas Eve, and it's like already 6 o'clock in the evening. So thank you for those who joined, because I know that most of us already want to go home or be home and like just watch some movies. So I'll try to be brief, okay? And I chose a topic which will support it, hopefully. So it's like a simple topic, short topic, but very important at the same time. And the topic is checking the status of your visa or residence permit application. Because if you applied for some type of visa or a residence permit or its extension or change the purpose of your stay, whatever, if you applied for something, you would probably want to know what's the status. You know, like if it was denied, approved, if it's in process, why it's taken so long. And there are some ways on how to find it out. So I'll go through all the ways and give you some tips there. And of course, as you know already, if you have any questions to the topic ideally, but even if they're like different questions or different topics, please feel free to ask them and I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, so let's jump right into that. And how it used to be was that you basically had no chance of finding out what was the status of your application. So once you applied, you just like hoped something would happen and you would not miss that. That's been changing. Now you have multiple ways of checking the status of your application. I'll go through them in a second. Now, thank you guys for all the likes and hearts and everything. Thank you very much. So now you have more ways of checking the status of your application, and I'll go through them in a second, and we'll always give you some tips. So first of all, there are two types of application numbers you can get. One is an application number which you get from a Czech embassy. If you apply for your first visa or for your residence permit through a Czech embassy, you will get a special type of application number there. If you apply for something in the Czech Republic already, for extension or a residence permit or permanent residence permit or change of purpose of stay, if you apply at the Ministry of the Interior, you will get a different number from the Ministry of the Interior. So you can actually get two different types of application numbers. The one which you get at Czech embassy, the application number you get at the Czech embassy is usually, consists from a couple things. First, 4 letters identify the embassy you applied for. So for example, Tela would be for Tel Aviv. Okay, so if you applied at the Czech embassy in Tel Aviv, the application number would start with Tela. And then you have the identification of the date when you apply. So then the rest of the application number would be like 2021 1209, like if you applied on the 9th of December 2021. And then the last 4 digits actually identify the number of the application on that day. So the total application number you get from the embassy would look something like, and I will tell you exact one, so that's why I'm looking here. So for example, Tela 2021 1209 0001. That means that you submitted your application in Tel Aviv on the 9th of December 2021, and that your application was the first one that day. So then I will get to how to check the status of the application later, but this is what the number, the application number you get at Czech embassy looks like. If you apply at the Ministry of the Interior in the Czech Republic, you will get a different number. And that number usually looks like OAM, which is always there because that means like the Department of Asylum and Migration Politics. So OAM, then dash, then the actual application number, which would be depending on the time of the year you apply, something between 0 and 45,000. It depends on the number of applications. So it would be OAM dash 127, for example. Then you have slash, and behind the slash, you have 2 letters, which identify what kind of application you applied for or what kind of application you submitted. So for example, for temporary residence, either as an EU citizen or as a family member, like the partnership visa, you would have PP there, which in Czech means temporary residence, přechodný pobyt. And then you have dash, and then you have the number, like identifying the year you applied for. So I'll show you one example right now. I just forgot to write it down. So that would be 71 PP 2021. So for example, it would look like this. Okay, OAM 1701, that's the actual number of the application, and PP identifying the type of application you submitted, and then 2021, which is the year when you submitted that application. So different applications can have the same number, just the year would be different. So you can have OAM 1701/PP 2020. You can have the same for 2021, 2022, and yeah, like this. Okay, I hope that is clear. If not, I know it's a bit, if you haven't seen the numbers, then it can be somehow confusing now if I'm just telling you what it looks like. But if you have any questions or if you want to see some example, let me know and I'll send you some concrete example. So that's what the application numbers look like. And now how to check the application status. So three ways to check the status of your application. First is go to the Ministry of the Interior in person and ask there. Second would be checking online, because there is a special application where you can check the status of your application online. And third would be sending an official letter via mail. So let's now go through the different types in detail. So first way to check your status, or first way to check the status of your visa application or residence permit application is going to the Ministry of the Interior in person and asking there. Obviously, this can only happen if you applied in the Czech Republic, or if you have someone living in the Czech Republic who could go there on your behalf based on a power of attorney, for example. So if you apply, say, in India, at the Czech embassy in India, you will most likely not get a short-term visa, fly to the Czech Republic, to the MOI to find out the status of your application. But if you submitted your application in the Czech Republic, you can always go to the same branch where you applied, show them your passport, and just ask about the status of your application. That's option number one. If you're not here, or if you, for example, if you do your visa process or residence permit process through us, through Move to Prague, we usually get a power of attorney from you, which means that we can represent you in all the dealings with the ministry regarding your application. So we can also go to the Ministry of the Interior on your behalf and ask the status of your application on your behalf. So this is especially useful if you, first of all, if you want to be like stress-free, if you don't want to go to the ministry every time you want to find out something and you want someone else to take care of it. Or if you plan on traveling, if you, for example, applied for some type of residency in the Czech Republic, but you want to go traveling, or if you applied, obviously, at some Czech embassy. So you cannot really come to the Czech Republic to just ask about the status. So that's why we have the power of attorney, and we can represent you, and we can go to the ministry on your behalf. So that was option number one, going to the ministry in person. Option number two is checking the status of your application online. So that's the second way of checking the status of your application. That's an online way. And there is a special website of the Ministry of the Interior where you can go, you submit your application number. So it would be either the one given through the embassy, which I explained before, or one given by the Ministry of the Interior. You put it into the system, you click check, and it shows you the status. It only shows you like if it was approved, denied, or still in process, but at least something, you at least know that something is happening or what happened. Sorry guys, now I'm still kind of new to this, so someone requested to join the stream. So let me see if I can do that. Hiral Patel. Let's see, because I told you that I would interact with you, so let's do that, and then I will finish the official part later. But yeah, okay. It seems to be working. Hello. Hi, can you hear me? No. Okay, so it seems that it didn't work out. So sorry for that, guys, and let's continue. Let's continue with the official part. Okay. So And the third way of checking the status of your visa application or residence permit application is via mail. That's technically possible, but it usually makes no sense because there is basically zero chance that you will ever receive an answer. But you can officially, if the process has been taken some time and you want to know the status, but you cannot go to the ministry or you didn't leave the power of attorney with someone, like move to Prague, for example, so we could go and check on your behalf, you can always send a letter to the ministry. It must be written in Czech. It must be signed and it must be sent physically. So it cannot be just like email or PDF or something. Okay, so you would write the letter, sign it, and send it to the ministry via mail, and then hope that something would happen. First of all, this is a very slow way of finding out the application because first you need to write the letter. Second, you need to send it. Then when it's delivered to the ministry, it doesn't go directly to the person who's making the decision, but it goes through some steps before it reaches the person. And then they are not like legally binded to reply. They should, but they usually don't. So it's kind of like if you want to show your effort that you did something, but you don't really want to do something. So it's not really a way of really finding out something, but it's technically an option. Okay, and then there are three potential findings of the status of your application. First would be approved, second would be denied, and third would be in process. Then the status of in process, it can have like two sub information, and I'll go through that right now. So first, if you find out that your application was denied, then you know that it was denied. And what would happen is that you very likely soon receive a letter explaining the reasons. Because if the ministry denies your application, they need to let you know why they deny the application. And they need to let you know like the exact parts of the law they denied the application based on, or what was the problem with the application. They need to specify the reasons, so you know that it wasn't just because they didn't like you, but that you really made some mistakes in the application, or you missed some documents or stuff like that. But then if your application was denied, you can either let it be and apply again, or you can make an appeal. You usually have 15 days to make an appeal, and you can try to fight with the ministry and change the decision maybe. That's outcome number one, application denied. Then the second option or second outcome of the check-in of the status of your application can be approved. Then obviously that's a good finding. And then you need to follow the procedures according to what type of visa or residence permit you applied for. So if you, for example, applied for a residence permit in the Czech Republic or its extension, and you find out that it was approved, then you need to call the ministry, book your appointment for the biometrics, then go there, give the biometrics, book the appointment for collecting the residence card, and that's it. So if you find out that your application was approved, you need to take actively some steps, because officially the ministry should call you or send you a letter, but they do it from our experience in, I don't know, 10% of cases that they actually send us a letter saying, hey, your client has been approved, or you have been approved as a person, or yeah, they usually don't do that. So we usually find out first, call the ministry actively, book an appointment to collect the residence permit or to book to give the biometrics and all that. But that's obviously a good outcome, so that's good finding. Agnello Andrews, Merry Christmas for you too. Thank you very much. It's coming, right? It's tomorrow. For most of us, it's tomorrow. For some, like Americans, it's 2 days from now in the morning. But anyway, the Christmas is here. So guys, Merry Christmas to you all. Okay, and the third outcome of checking the status of your application can be in process. And then it depends where you found out. If you found out online that it's in process, you cannot really do anything, because you just know that they are working on that, but you cannot find out any further details. But if you, for example, went to the Ministry of the Interior in person and asked about the status of your application in person, you can also ask them if they tell you, okay, it's still in process. So you can ask them, okay, and can you see any details of that? And then it depends, because officially the decision maker who's making the decision about your application should be making some notes, like, okay, I've checked this and this is correct, or this is missing, or I will be doing this, I will be sending a denial letter, stuff like that. Sometimes they do. So the person at the information desk or like at the ministry, when you're asking about the status of your application, they can see these notes and they can tell you, okay, this is happening. This is the notes from the decision maker, all that. And you can actually find out some valuable information, and you can act, or you know that everything is fine, or you know that this document is missing, or you can work with the information. But sometimes, or I would say often, the decision makers do not write any notes to the case. So basically, the only thing that the person at the ministry can tell you is that, okay, it's still being in process. I don't know when the decision will be made and what it will be. You can still kind of try to find out some more information, which is especially helpful in some cases. For example, if we have clients who applied for their visas through a Czech embassy, there is sometimes very significant delay between when they applied at the embassy and when their documents were delivered to the Ministry of the Interior. We had a case that a client applied for an employee card in Australia, at the Czech embassy in Australia, and before the ministry even started checking the application, so before they received the application, the documents, and they assigned a number to that and started working on that, that was a month. It was 4 weeks before they even started checking the application. So there can be some significant delay, and you can find out this information from them. Okay, when did you exactly receive the documents? When the application number was assigned, when someone started checking the file, and you can find out. It can be useful for you, probably not for you as a private person. If you are dealing with your application without any help of immigration experts like us at Move to Prague, then the information is not really like useful to you, because you don't anyway know what exactly to do with that, and you also know when you submitted the application. But for us, it can be valuable, because then we know that, okay, they actually started counting the 60 days or 90 days or whatever from this date. So now we can already send a letter, or we now need to wait, or we know that there was this kind of delay. And it gives us some additional feedback, which we can use for further cases. For example, this, I know that's based on this experience, that it took like 1 month to just deliver the documents from Australia to the ministry. Now we know that we can tell it to our clients. If they apply in Berlin, okay, it takes like 1 week to deliver the documents. If you apply in Australia, it will take like a month. So it's good, beneficial information for us. Oh yeah, and then basically, if they tell you something important, you can react on that, or you can act on it. If they just tell you, hey, it's in process, wait, then you can either just wait, or you can take some steps. I talked about it in some of the previous live streams, that you can, for example, send some polite letter requesting them to speed up the application, or you can also send some official complaint against inactivity of the ministry, which is a very strong legal thing to do, but it usually pisses them off, and they will try to do everything in their power to deny the application sometimes. Okay, so this was the official part. Swagatika, hello, hi, thank you very much for joining. Guys, if you have any questions, either here on Facebook or here on YouTube, please ask the questions now. I'll answer them. And then if you don't have any questions, then I will be going home, because it's Christmas, and I actually decided, after 11 years of running this business with Daria, and like working basically every day, all day, with no like proper vacation, I decided to take 3 days off. So I'll not be working at all tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm kind of looking forward to that rest. So this is your last chance to use my experience and my knowledge and expertise, and to get some information from me. So guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask now, or stay silent forever, as they say. And of course, if you're celebrating Christmas, then I wish you Merry Christmas, and like relax, enjoy, because I believe that in like modern society, it sometimes becomes a bit, hectic, or like the spirit of Christmas, which should be about like being together and like celebrating the time with your family and friends, and just being nice to each other. And like, you should be nice to each other like every day, but this is a good reason to do that. But now I believe it often becomes something different, like you need to run and buy everything and the gifts and all that, and it kind of loses the purpose. So if you can enjoy, calm down, relax, eat the sweets, eat carb or whatever you're eating, and enjoy. Ayong, Merry Christmas, Mr. Thanks for sharing these valuable informations. It is normal for applications student visa applications to be pending for over 70 days. Yeah, that can happen. Like officially, the ministry, in general, the ministry has 60 to 90 days to make decisions about any type of visa. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. There are exceptions, but generally, if you say 60 to 90 days, it applies to most cases. But honestly speaking, the ministry doesn't really care. So they just work on their own pace. So yeah, 70 days doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't mean that it will be approved. It doesn't mean it will be for sure denied. It doesn't mean anything. Also, as I mentioned, if you joined just now, you haven't heard that. But before I was mentioning that sometimes, for example, if one of our clients applied in Australia and it took the ministry like 1 month to even start working on the case, because the embassy had to physically send the documents to the Czech Republic. Then the documents needed to be sent somewhere else within the Czech Republic. And only after that, someone started actually checking the application. So there was a month of delay. So if it's been 70 days from when you submitted the application, it might actually be just like 40 days when they actually work on the application. So yeah, sometimes we had applications approved in 2 weeks. Sometimes for some type of applications, we wait for like 2 years. So 70 days is still okay, and you cannot really do anything about that anyway. But once they exceed the 90 days, which is the legal deadline for most of the visa types, you can take some steps, and you can send them some official letter or official complaint, and you can start sorting it out. But before that, if you send them some letter, if they're still within the legal deadline, and you send them a letter saying, hey, please speed up the application, they could even see that as your try to influence the process, the approval process, and they could get pissed and they could like make it complicated for you. So don't do that. If they're still within the deadline, let them do their job, and you'll see. So 70 days, that happens. Nothing unusual. Mohammed Ohadar, is the page of Ministry of Interior work well? Because when I write my application number, that got it from embassy not found. Yeah, it usually works well. The reason for this, for example, can be that you either fill it in incorrectly, which sometimes happens, or they gave you the incorrect number, but that usually doesn't happen. Usually they're pretty accurate with that. But as I mentioned before, sometimes it takes some time, because the embassy where you applied does not make the decision. Okay, they just accept your documents, sometimes do the interview with you, but then they need to take all your documents physically and send them to the Czech Republic. And the Ministry of the Interior in the Czech Republic makes the decision. And the application number is only put in the system once the ministry starts working on the case. So if you, for example, submitted your application 1 week ago, it's very likely that the documents are not even in the Czech Republic. So you cannot find the application number yet because it's not in the system yet. So it depends on when you applied. If you applied just recently, like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, wait for a couple more weeks, try later. And only if it still doesn't work, then you can try to start sorting it out somehow. Maybe give us a power of attorney. We'll go to the ministry and we'll find out what's going on. But there is usually some delay between when you apply at the embassy and when you can see the number or the status online. Hopefully that was helpful. Ayong, thanks a lot, Mr. Yankalina. Thank you a lot as well for asking the questions and for coming to the live stream and following me. And if you don't follow me everywhere, please do. I'm everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm doing pretty well there, and I'm sharing some even like interesting information now. For example, statistics about how many people of different nationalities live in the Czech Republic. So how many Americans, how many Indians, how many Nepalis live in the Czech Republic. I primarily share this info and this type of videos on my TikTok. So if you don't follow me on TikTok, please do. And I go live every Monday and every Thursday simultaneously on Facebook and on YouTube. And I also have Instagram, but that's kind of, I don't really know how to work with Instagram. So I'm active there, but it's nothing like real special. So the best channels I have is TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. Obviously, I have the group there, and I try to help as much as I can. Okay, one last question from Sandip. I applied 2 months ago for employee card in Warsaw, Czech Embassy. I didn't got any results, and status show in process. Is there anything I can do for the results? Not really, because for the employee card, the official deadline is 60 to 90 days. So unless they exceed the 90 days, you officially cannot do anything. But once they exceed the 90 days, you can send them a letter, either just a polite letter saying, hey, what's the status of my application? Please let me know. That usually doesn't change anything, but they at least need to take the letter and physically put it into your file, which means that someone will at least like see your application again. And it might, because they often forget about it. They have plenty of applications and they just deal with that randomly. So that will bring the attention back to your case. But it officially doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any legal weight. But then you can also send a different type of letter, which is the complaint against inactivity of the ministry. And that's very strong legal thing to do. But it usually also pisses the ministry off because it's kind of a complaint about their work, which goes to their bosses. So they need to make a decision. After you send the letter, they need to make a decision fast. And they do, because that's like a direct order from their bosses. So they do. But it often pisses them off, and they will try to find whatever small thing to make your life complicated and deny the application. So be careful about that. Usually we just recommend waiting. How much you charge your office for asking information in MOI? Please get in touch with me directly, either on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or email. I have email addresses everywhere. So, and I'll be happy to send you all the details. We have like a nice shiny PDF and all that. So I'll be happy to send it to you. And Ayonk, one more question. The 90 days calculations, is it from the day I submitted my application and attended an interview? Do we include weekends, non-working days? Okay, so the days are calendar days. So including weekend, including holidays, everything. But as for when they started counting from, officially, they should start counting it from the day you submitted that. But in real life, I believe that they could easily argue that, okay, we didn't have the documents, so we couldn't start like dealing with them. So the deadline is extended. So we usually, that's why when I was talking about it in the beginning, why we try to find out the exact date when the documents were delivered to the ministry from the embassy. So we start usually counting the 60 or 90 days from that date when it was delivered. Because, yeah, officially they should start counting it from the date you applied, but they could always argue that they didn't have the documents for 30 days or 2 weeks or whatever. So they couldn't start making the decision. We couldn't start like counting the 90 days or 60 days. So we usually count with the worst scenario, and that's from the date when the documents were delivered to the ministry. Okay, guys, thank you very much for joining. I'll be finishing the live stream. We'll be going home. So thank you very much for coming, for following me, and enjoy the Christmas, enjoy holidays. If you don't celebrate Christmas, enjoy holidays anyway, if you have some, or if not, then be nice to each other anyway and relax a bit, and see you next time. Bye-bye, guys. Thank you.